Good morning. This is Faith in Our Hometown, brought to you as a community service and sponsored by Mercy Hospital, Joplin. And now, here's your host, Father Jay Friedel.
Well, good morning, everyone. As you all know, we're still stuck in the land of plague, as we are here in the United States and will be for quite some time. And so while I don't want to do all of our stories necessarily around that, this morning we're going to be talking to Jeremy Drinkwitz. Jeremy is the president and CEO of Mercy, Joplin. And we're going to talk a little bit about the way, in some ways, this pandemic is changing Catholic healthcare, and also a little bit about, unfortunately, some of the reduction in workforce that Mercy's recently announced and that they're going to have to be going through in order to keep making it all work and happen. So we're going to be right back to talk to him a little bit about that right after this Mercy Minute. So settle in, grab a cup of coffee, and get yourself ready for another Sunday morning of discussing issues that matter to us as people of faith here in our greater Joplin area. So we're going to be right back after this Mercy Minute, so stick with us.
Lung cancer is the leading cause of cancer deaths in the U.S., and now we have an effective tool to screen for it. A low-dose CT uses a lower amount of radiation than a standard chest CT.
Breathe in.
Better detailed pictures than a chest x-ray of small abnormal areas of the lung. A person must be between 55 to 77 years old, asymptomatic, which means they don't have any symptoms such as coughing up blood, chronic cough, shortness of breath, unusual weight loss, or any other worrisome symptoms. They must also be a current smoker or have quit within the past 15 years, also must have a 30-pack year history or more, which equates to smoking 1 pack a day for 30 years, or 2 packs a day for 15 years. People generally avoid these scans possibly due to fear of what could be found. Like many other cancers, if we can detect lung cancer early, it could be very treatable and life-saving.
Well, welcome back to another Sunday morning here at Faith in Our Hometown. Again, my guest this morning, Jeremy Drinkwitz. Jeremy is our leader over at Mercy Joplin. So first, let me say, Jeremy, thanks for sponsoring the show. I know a lot of viewers out there have come to like us for whatever reason, and so we're grateful for the Mercy sponsorship. But I wanted to have you on today, not just because you sponsor the show, but because you know some things, okay? So one of the things that I get fascinated with is the bigger conversation, because healthcare has changed a lot in the last few years, and all of a sudden we're in the midst of something that's probably going to push us out into it evolving and changing a little bit more. So from your estimation, and I know you don't have a crystal ball, I get that, but from your estimation, how do you think healthcare is going to change a little bit because of our current pandemic and what that's going to be over the course of the next few months and year?
Well, I think it's going to change in quite a few areas. I mean, just think about it. When you go to the store now, you're conscious of people around you that you weren't conscious before. When people sneeze, I think you probably would react differently than you did 5 or 6 months ago previously. But I really think the big thing about healthcare, and we've kind of been flirting with it for a while, but this pandemic is really going to push us, is virtual care. So there's been companies out there that have been having their employees have the ability to see a physician on your iPhone. And we in this area have been a little slow to that, but Mercy really adopted that model. And so now we really believe that probably 30% of our physician visits can be done on the iPhone. Think about all those times that you can go see the doctor, he spends a few minutes with you, but you may spend an hour of your time. Now you can do that on your phone. You get to check in and check out through that piece. Think about the time that you're going to save as a person, but then also the efficiency of our physicians as well. So allows us to see more patients, but I think virtual care will be the big piece for us going forward in a lot of different areas in that way going forward. So I think virtual will be the big piece that comes out of this. That's the good. It will drive down cost overall, but there'll be the piece that changes for everybody here as well. And that's going to be different because there's a lot of our community here that really still want to go see the physician. And so you have to adapt to it. It's new. But I think if you would try it, I think you'll learn to really, really enjoy it. I'm going to start doing that with my physician. I told him that the other day and he smiled politely at me, but that's what the way it's going to be going forward. When there's acute care sickness and you really need to see the physician, great. But if it's just a check-in, why couldn't you do it on your iPhone? We do everything else on your iPhone. You do banking on your iPhone. You do everything on your iPhone. So sometimes you can do some of your healthcare on the iPhone too.
Yeah, and I've been amazed at what some of the technology can do. Now, this is not what you're talking about, but I've been amazed at some of the, the teleconferencing that's done with specialists around, where you may not have a particular specialist at your hospital, but but they've got you've got those smart rooms at the hospital where they can get with a specialist, and they can shine this thing in your eyes and find out your temperature and all. I mean, I'm just amazed at what some of the technology can do.
And well, we've had that really in our VICU. So right now we have critical care physicians in St. Louis that at nighttime, if they're called by the nurse, can actually get a camera. We have every one of our rooms has a camera. The camera is so powerful that it can actually see the dilation in your eyes, and so they can see everything about it. So they're there. They're just not physically there, but they see all of the vital signs. They can see the things in your eyes. They can do a physical examination of that patient virtually, and then make orders. And so it's going to change. But think about it. We need to change. We're not training enough physicians for the population growth. So virtual will allow us to actually see more patients, take care of patients, especially in some rural areas that they may not get a specialist. Now they can get a specialist virtually. So think about how much beneficial that would be for the community. They won't have to drive a couple hours to see a specialist. They can just see it in a location virtually.
It's amazing to me. I mean, this is kind of like the stuff that we used to watch, or at least I used to watch on TV when I was younger. And, it was, things that, run that little scanner over you and bang, they know exactly what's going on with you. And we're just getting closer and closer to that. I mean, I know it's not an exact, medicine is still an art and not completely a science, and I understand that. And that's why I really respect the ones who work the art part well. But I am kind of amazed at how well some of that can work now virtually. And it again, I will appreciate very much being able to do 15 minutes, being able to get right on there and do that. Because a lot of my day is tied up, and if I've got to block out 2 hours, that's an hour and 45 minutes that I can't necessarily get back or do anything else. I usually take stuff with me, but this is going to make life a whole lot simpler in that regard.
It is, and now with the electronic medical record, your physician can pull up everything about you that you have, old tests, old results, new tests, new results, and so they have information on their fingertips that they didn't have 10 years ago, 15 years ago, when you had a chart, and they had to go through the chart to figure out where the latest piece of paper is. And so it really will change, but it's changed for the better. It really is. And it's really, the one thing about healthcare, it's always been a challenge, and why is it so expensive? And it's always going to be expensive. It's never going to not be that case. But virtual can help drive down cost in that, and really allow us to really become more efficient and more productive and see more patients. So that's going to be a big piece for us.
And that's especially going to be important, again, if we're not raising up and again, kudos to you all the people that were involved in the medical school. I love watching my students go through there. I love watching them grow up and start to become those doctors of the future, because we're really close now with that first group and everything. I think it's amazing. But if we're not producing enough of them to take care of our area, then maybe this is one of the ways that we have some solutions.
Absolutely. Joplin, there's a shortage. There's been a shortage in the four-state area for a long time, and this will be a way. You got to develop a relationship. Virtual care isn't for everything. But like you said, it's an art. And so, but once you know a patient and you can understand and listen, and think about what you do on your iPhone right now when you look at a picture. You can see so much detail, and so you still be able to do that with technology these days going forward. So it's a way, and it's also a great way to protect patients. If you think about it, patients can be seen, they don't have to get out of their areas, so there'll be a way to keep them safe in some different areas as well.
Yeah, I always in some ways feel guilty when I go into my just regular, doctor's office. Love him, great man, kudos to my doctor, Russ Kennedy, but I'm just saying, I always feel guilty because really I'm going in for wellness checks, and so we'll talk for a few minutes and make sure everything's fine, but right now, if I'm sick, I'm going to call and say, this is what I've got going on now. Do I need to come see you, or what do you want to do? But I'm grateful for that. But I always sometimes feel guilty about the wellness checks for exactly that reason. I'm just like, he's always gracious, takes time, does all that stuff. But I'm like, what are we? You got more important things to do than sit and talk to me.
He's my doctor too, and so that was what I said.
There we go.
I told him. So yes, you should ask him about virtual visits potentially in the future.
Yeah. Well, and he'll probably give me that same indulgent smile and say, "Okay, here we go." But it is. It's just good to have options in
Sure.
that regard. And, and again, I was, a few weeks ago, I went in for a check, and I'm just going to say, this how things have changed in the time of this pandemic. So, this was, since we locked everything down, I had a doctor's appointment, and I thought, well, they're going to cancel. And there's really, well, why do I need to go to the doctor anyway? I'm fine, But he wanted to make sure that we kept everything and that I'm doing well. And when I questioned him about it, he said, well, we were very careful about the way that anybody that's having any respiratory issues, we're sending them to one spot, and we're making sure that those are cared for, because we want to create a safe environment here where everybody else who continues to need health care is continuing to do that right here in our clinics. And we want everybody to feel safe when they come into the clinics and not worry about, am I going to contract something else, and all those things. And so I've just been, I've been amazed at the amount of adjustments already that have started to be made that I never even considered, because it's not my area, it's not my field.
Well, it's a big part of it. Trying to keep patients safe. Obviously, we don't want to bring patients in or have a patient be exposed to something they don't need to. But I think it also allows our physician to stay in touch with their patients.
Yeah.
Think about it, if they can't see them, they can still be in touch with them virtually. And so it allows them to keep that patient care, which is so important, and that continuity, which keeps people healthy. And so this is just another avenue. It's not the only avenue, but it will become a more important avenue in the future for sure. And the coronavirus is a big part of pushing that forward. We had plans, but we accelerated those plans, and now we have the ability to offer it to our patients going forward.
Yeah. Well, there's some of the blessings, okay, and there are some blessings, obviously, in terms of that. But there's also been some challenges, and I know that you guys, like other people in the area, have had to announce that there are going to be some cuts and how you do all that. So let's talk a little bit about the challenges. Just start. We got a couple minutes here for the break.
Sure.
So let's talk a little bit about the challenges of what are you facing. Why is this so necessary? Because again, I don't know that sometimes people get all that. I think your own coworkers do, but I don't, but it's going to be tough. And so what are the challenges coming out because we're in this time?
Well, there's a lot of challenges in the fact that we've had contraction of business. So if you think about everything was kind of locked down, and so people didn't go to the physician's office, didn't get testing, surgeries were delayed. We've seen a decrease in our ER volume. We've seen a significant decrease in total admissions into the hospital. And so the business of healthcare for us, which is important, still relies on patients being seen and taken care of. And so those are down at the moment and still continue to be down. And so that's a big challenge for us as a hospital, but we're not the only ones facing it. Everybody's facing it. I saw an article last week that said the hospitals in the country are losing $1.4 billion per day, and so with revenue. And so it's every hospital in every state, and so we all prepared for what the worst case scenario was. And fortunately, we didn't have the worst case scenario. And here in Joplin, we've been super fortunate not to have a lot of coronavirus, but that preparation came at a cost as well. And so now we have to figure out how to maintain our ministry. We have to be good stewards of that. We have to be very conscious of our costs going forward. And so there's making us to make some decisions with that, but we can't wait. We can't sit around and hope that things are going to change. We want to take a bias for action as part of our history, and so we're going to make sure we do that to make sure we preserve this ministry in the future.
Yeah, my guest this morning is Jeremy Drinkwitz, who is the President and CEO over at Mercy Joplin, and he is with me this morning talking about some of the blessings and ways that this is moving healthcare forward in an interesting way, but also some of the challenges. So we're going to take a real quick break, so stick around and don't go anywhere, and we're going to be right back with Jeremy to talk a little bit more about some of those challenges right after this quick break.
You're watching Faith in Our Hometown on KSN TV, brought to you as a community service and sponsored by Mercy Hospital, Joplin.
Well, again, thank you for sticking with us this morning. Again, we're talking about how this strange virus is changing all of our lives. And my guest this morning, Jeremy Drinkwitz, who's in charge of, we like to let him think he's in charge of things at Mercy anyway, is with us this morning to talk a little bit about some of those challenges now, because we were talking about some of the blessings in the first half and started to get into the challenges. So tell us basically what's going to happen, or for folks who may not have heard the news, for our viewers who may not have heard the news. You made some announcements about some necessary cuts that are going to be made. So kind of what's going to be happening around Mercy in the next few weeks?
Yeah, so we've had to make some difficult decisions about some of our workforce. Some of those jobs are going to be permanent, and some of those are furloughs. And so the furloughs are hoping that our business comes back and that we will get busier as we reopen, reactivate Mercy here in Joplin with our surgeries and our imaging and the patients that have been maybe delayed or deferred because of the coronavirus. So, but we also know that we're just not as busy as we once were, and so we're off in some areas, and so the staff that we had to be at 100%, we're not there, and so we need to take some steps to make sure that we have the ministry in the future and preserve some of our cash going forward.
Yeah. And I know that that's regretful. I've not talked to anybody in administration at any place that's ever done that, and I think that that's probably true of any of the places in the area that have had to lay off people. I mean, I've not met an employer yet who's not said, this is killing me, because I know that, I know this person, I know who they are, I know their face, and I've known them for 12 years they worked for us, and now all of a sudden this position is drying up or going where we can't afford to keep everybody on, and how are we going to do all that?
Yeah, these are the most difficult decisions that myself as a leader and our leaders make. These are people we've known for a long time who do really good work. And they are things that keep you up at night. They are things that nobody wants to do. And this one is very frustrating for leaders, but for everybody. If it were me making a bad decision as a result, and these are the things that happen, then it all blames on me. But this is a blame of nobody's fault.
Right.
This is a pandemic, and that this is affecting everybody's life in a way that we didn't think it would 10 weeks ago when all this started. But it is, and it's affecting us economically, it's affecting us emotionally, and so this one's very frustrating because you don't know who to be mad at. I mean, how do you be mad at the coronavirus? Because it's something you can't see, hold, or taste, or touch, and so. And
it doesn't have a conscience.
It doesn't have a conscience, and so it's a very frustrating piece. It's hurtful. It's just a very difficult time.
Yeah, I don't think. I'm just going to tell you, I'm going to give you a little bit of sympathy, and you and all the folks in management, because I get to talk to you all from time to time when I wander the back hallway, and I know it bothers you all, and I cannot think of a single person in that administrative staff that it doesn't bother that this is going to happen, because it's going to be across the board. I mean, it's not going to be just all the people in this department or that department, or all executives or no executives, or this is going to be a shared pain across the ministry.
It is, and but it's one that's necessary because we have a ministry that was given to us. And it's something that we cherish. It's something that we value very highly, and we want to give it to the next generation. The easy thing would be is act like it's not happening, but that's not the right thing. And when the Sisters of Mercy handed us this ministry and said, please preserve it, please guard it, and please steward it to the next generation, we took that serious, and we're taking that serious. And that's what I told our leaders last week when we started making these difficult decisions and moving down this path, is that they gave us, and they believed in us, and it's our turn to do those difficult decisions. They weren't immune to making difficult decisions too when they were in leadership, and they had to make very difficult decisions multiple times, even here in Joplin, to preserve the ministry. It's been around for 123 years. We want to make sure we give it to the next generation, and they turn around and give it to the next generation. So for us to do that, unfortunately right now we got to make some difficult decisions that is going to affect our workforce, but we're still open. We're still going to be there to take care of all of our community. And hopefully our community and our patients will come back and become we'll be able to serve them quicker. And doing that, we'll be able to bring some of our workforce back when we need them going forward. So that's the piece as we continue to do more surgeries and more imaging and more physician visits. It's not that healthcare's gone away. People still need healthcare.
Right.
It just is not at the same level that it was 6, 8, 10 weeks ago. And so, but once that gets up in our community and our patient population feels more confident in getting those needs met, then we'll be able to bring those people, put them back to work and serve, because they're here to serve.
Yeah.
It's a job for them, but it's also service, and it's also their ministry. And so we want to be able to give that opportunity for them as well.
Well, Jeremy, I know because I work with you all, so I know how many of you think. And I don't know that sometimes our people in the community understand that connection that you all feel to the Sisters of Mercy and to the original ones who actually, started all this in Ireland, or even if more locally in Joplin,
right.
All those years ago. Can you say a little bit about when you go out to hire and fire, about fit and about what you look for? Because I don't know that. I know you guys are you gotta meet the bottom line or you won't stay in business.
Sure.
I get that, okay? And I understand it. But say a little bit more about the kind of people you look to actually work for Mercy and to fit that vision of the Sisters of Mercy.
Yeah, so we believe that you're called. And so this isn't something that's just a pure coincidence that you are working. We're looking for the people that have been called by God to be there. We also look for people who have a passion. So it's not just a job. It's what they believe, and they believe it's their ministry. And so those are the two things that, because if you believe that, it becomes more than just punching the clock. It becomes more than just looking at the clock and trying to burn off 30 more minutes so you can get out of the day. It's because you're here to serve. And so that's what our founder, Catherine McCauley, was all about, service. And we've taken that as a legacy. That's something that we've taken as a lesson, and we just want to continue to honor that. So those are the people we look for. It's a calling for them. They have an attitude of service, but they also have a fullness of life too. And we want them to have fun at their work and at their ministry.
Yeah. And I'm not going to say to you now, I will say this as a person who wears one of these collars, okay? Not everybody gets it, okay? And I get that. And I know that you've got that same challenge in your people. You hire people and sometimes they just don't get it and they don't seem to have the right fit. Those are the ones that we pray figure out where they're going and let them go somewhere else and do it somewhere else. But if it doesn't fit for us, the ministry is not going to be what we want it to be in terms of what we think Jesus wants us to be doing, and in terms of what the Sisters of Mercy did in trying to serve Him in the poor, in the sick, all those kinds of things. And I think that sometimes people who don't know Mercy a little bit up closer don't get all that actually still does matter in some of the conversations.
It matters greatly. We have an incredible legacy. If people would want to go and actually Google Catherine McCauley and start reading about the legacy that she started and the obstacles that she overcame and just the tenacity that she did to serve, and that's been carried on for over 200 years. And even here in Joplin, our legacy is incredible. That the sisters showed up, they thought that they made a huge mistake when they stepped off the train, and that they almost turned around and went back.
That's right.
And if they would have, then we wouldn't be here today, but they didn't. They stuck it out. And so, and thank God they did. The McCauley Highs have a strong history. We have a strong history because of that. And so
actually, it all started at St. Peter's, but far be it from me. I'm just saying.
But the reality of life is that it's a reason that we've been here for 123 years, and that reason is bigger than just man, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And so we know there's faith, and so we believe it's a ministry, and we're here to serve others, and I think that's the piece. And our way is to serve those in need in the form of healthcare. And so, do we get it right all the time? Absolutely not.
Nah.
But I do know, and I think our community knows, that we're giving it the best we got. And we're never satisfied with just being this. We want to be better tomorrow. And that was a principle that Catherine gave us 200 years ago, and that's a principle we do today. Do good today, better tomorrow. And so that's what we try to improve on every single day.
Well, and again, right now, that's what you got to do in order to stay in business.
Absolutely.
And to do those things. And so, I'll just, speak a little bit here to this, but for all of us, who worry about the church and what the church does and the way the church treats people. This is nothing personal. This is how do we stay in business?
Sure.
How do we keep everything going and still be faithful to that legacy of what we're trying to do in terms of making sure that it's here for the next generation, which is important.
Absolutely, and we're here to serve, and we're here to offer high quality healthcare to the customers and our consumers and our community, and so we're still going to do that. Nothing's changing in that area right now. So we're still here to do that, and so that's what we're going to continue to do going forward.
Yeah, and to all those coworkers whose lives are going to be affected soon, what would you say to them? Because I know they don't even know who they all are at this point in time.
Yeah, it's sad, and I'm sorry for the things that are happening to them But it's the thing that we have to do to preserve our ministry going forward. And so, one of the teachings is common good, right? And so we still have to be part of that common good and hold fast to that truth going forward. So, it's difficult. It's things that hurt. But we know that we have to do this to preserve the ministry going forward. And, hopefully those people will be able to come back and serve with us at some point in the future. And we look forward to that day when that happens.
Yeah. Especially the ones who have the heart for it in the first
Absolutely.
place. Yeah. Well, Jeremy, got a minute left. Is there anything else you want to brag about Mercy or what? I mean, you're here, so what the heck?
Yeah, so we're really excited. We just actually got our grade for Leapfrog. So it's a patient safety organization that you get graded on. It's all based on data, so you can't submit anything. It's everything data. It's like
a pretty face.
Yeah, it's 1,300 plus questions, and we actually got an A again. So we are 5 years in a row. Actually, this is our 9th year all the way, but we're 5 in a row for A going forward. And so the highest in the area for safety, patient safety and satisfaction. And so we're excited about that. I think it just shows that the hard work that we're doing is about its true motivation. We're trying to be better. If it were anything, we're shooting for an A+. And so we're trying to improve ourselves going forward so we can be better to serve our community. Our community deserves it, and we're willing to give anything we got to make sure we meet their needs going forward.
Well, my friend, anything that I can do to help you into the future meet that A+, I'm willing to try.
I appreciate your help and all your sincerity.
Yeah. Well, my guest this morning, Jeremy Drinkwitz from Mercy Hospital, and we are going to be right back after this Mercy Minute, so don't go away.
The whole purpose of screening is to catch people who have a significant smoking history early enough where we can do something about it and potentially improve the duration of life. The minimum recommendation for screening is 30-pack years. So usually people who've smoked more than 30-pack years are the ones that we're screening. If we start screening yearly with low-dose CT scans, we can reduce the risk of death from lung cancer by 20 to 25%. Stage 1, 2, and 3 cancers potentially can be cured. When it becomes stage 4, the possibility of cure falls significantly.
Well, as I've been fond of saying for the last 8 or 10 weeks, welcome to life in the time of plague. This is where we are, it's what we do. And so we've got to figure out what the new normal is. And unfortunately, that new normal will bring about some challenges, but also blessedly, that new normal will bring about some things that are blessings. And that's true in all of our lives, and it's also true in our healthcare here in the area. I will tell you that we are at Mercy, our sponsors, are trying to do their best to make sure that we can move forward in faith and in care for the area. I know all of our brothers and sisters of Freeman doing the same thing, trying to figure out how to make it forward. We pray for all you healthcare workers and all you involved in that every single day. I just want you to know that. We pray for you. We want you to be safe. We want you to care for your people well. We want you to continue to care for our community because that is one of the hallmarks of who we are here in our greater Joplin area. I think we are a community that does care about each other and care about each other well. So let's take those blessings and those challenges and move forward, both with Mercy and with all of our community. Thank you. God bless you. Have a wonderful Sunday. And thanks for joining us for Faith in Our Hometown.
Thanks for watching. Faith in Our Hometown can be seen Sunday mornings at 6:30 and 9 a.m. on KSN. Brought to you as a community service and sponsored by Mercy Hospital, Joplin.